Hello there and welcome to the Catholic Focus, where truth meets integrity and faith meets the headlines.
Tonight, from media responsibility to rising tension in health, education and agriculture.
We connect the dots between faith, justice and the lived realities of Kenyans. I am Sasha Elizabeth.
And I'm Charles Mawaton with sign language interpretation by Eric Maluki. Let's get right into it.
Just a day after Pope Leo XIV emphasized the role of journalists in promoting peace and truth and called for the release of imprisoned media professionals, a similar message is resonating here at home.
In Kakamega County, journalists have been urged to uphold the highest standards of media ethics, particularly when covering sensitive community issues. Our reporter Deborah Mwania starts us off with that story.
The call for responsible and ethical journalism comes at a time when the global media fraternity is under pressure to combat misinformation and uphold press freedom. In Kakamega County, during the annual meeting of Media Queens 037, a union of female journalists, County Executive Committee member for Social Services and Youth Jacqueline Masicha underscored journalism in shaping informed and united communities. She urged journalists to focus on the positive storytelling, saying accurate reporting fosters peace and development.
For me, I always emphasize on ethical reporting. It's already been said that controversy sells. That's why ukinotice squeeze watu wa media tu, kukiwa na news nzuri mahali hawataki kuenda. Lakini kukiwa na news ziko na controversy, ndio media itakimbia. Because we are failing in leveraging on or gravitating on what is good for the society and focusing on what brings down the society. Because some of the things you propagate probably as media, when you've noticed probably there is a problem in society, on the vices we are fighting like homosexuality. The more you propagate it in media, the more that young person who's not accessing media anapata information. Mtoto mdogo unapata anajua kumbe this is happening. So probably for me, one thing I'll really like to encourage media queens who are here, that we try and focus on the good in the society. I know you, by reporting the bad, you are also condemning, but it's also very good when we focus on the good that is in the society.
Among the leaders present was Seth Panyako, the Secretary General, Kenya National Union of Nurses, who commended journalists for their dedication to unearthing hidden truth and serving the public interest. Panyako and other leaders also raised concern about the safety of female journalists, calling for stronger protection to ensure their rights and dignity are upheld.
Every society that the media has been given the freedom to perform her duties, we have seen democracy prevailing in those countries. Kenyan media has gone through many challenges, I know, but we appreciate and we thank you and we honor you. You have stood firm to defend the Kenyan people. You have been the key to unearthing very many bad governance practices in this country. You have unearthed this bad governance in all spheres of our economy and all spheres of social and cultural life.
My fear is, may the Heavenly Father, as you take your duties, take good care of you. May you all be protected. I also want to ask the government to see on how they can protect our female journalists in one way or the other. Their safety is very important as weak vessels, the way the Bible says.
The leaders went further to advocate for gender equality in leadership, emphasizing that women have the capability and vision to lead the country just as effectively as men.
Tunataka tujizoeshe kujishikilia wenyewe, si ndio? Unajua katika uongozi watu wengi husema ya kwamba adui ya mwanamke ni mwanamume. Na mimi niliambia watu ya kwamba hiyo statement ya adui ya mwanamke kuwa mwanamke tutaitoa. Ndipo tuanze kupatana, wanawake tusaidiane, tushikane na tuheshimu hao wanaume. Sio tushikane alafu tuwadharau, si ndio?
Wenyewe pia mshikane mikono. Tunataka wamama watoke jikoni waingie kwa uongozi.
Let's use this platform to adjust women's crown. to also support those women who are in leadership. Let their work, their stories and the positive story be told.
Representing the media queens, chairperson Millicent Kubai highlighted the compassion many reporters show during field work, often sharing the little they have with the interviewees, helping them feel seen and appreciated.
Yule hajakula siku 5 na uwezi kwanza kumhoji kama bila kushughulikia labda chakula chake. Kumbuka ofisi imekutuma kazi, kamera wamekupatia, lakini hukupewa pesa labda kumshughulikia yule, si ndio? Mara ngapi utachukua pesa zako umshughulikie kwanza, uangalie labda amepata chakula hata kuweka kwa mdomo, ndo uanze yale mahojiano. Kwa hivyo mara mingi sisi wanahabari tunajituma zaidi ya yale majukumu yetu, pasi na ile gharama ambayo ama umepewa pale ofisini.
Press freedom continues to face hurdles, but the resolve for the media remains unshaken. As the English saying goes, no retreat, no surrender. Journalists continue to serve under all circumstances, committed to truth, integrity, and the people. For Capuchin TV Catholic Focus, I am Deborah Mwanya.
Thank you, Deborah Mwanya. Now moving forward is that 3 suspects linked to a wave of kidnappings and robberies across central Kenya were on Monday arraigned at the Murang'a Law Courts in connection with the high-profile crimes. Godfrey Kimani Njeru, Caroline Nyambura Kairu, and Caroline Zilani Mweni appeared before Senior Resident Magistrate Eric Analo Musambai, facing 7 serious charges, including kidnapping, stupefying victims, theft, and extortion.
The trio is believed to have orchestrated multiple incidents that left residents living in fear, with the investigators terming the crimes as well coordinated and targeted. Our reporter Maureen Kimani has more details.
The suspects were dramatically arrested last Friday and are believed to be part of a criminal ring operating across Nairobi, Murang'a, Kiambu, and Nakuru counties. Authorities allege the group is connected to multiple abduction cases currently under active investigation. During today's court session, prosecutor Edwin Muindi urged the court to deny bail, describing the accused as flight risks who might tamper with crucial evidence or intimidate potential witnesses.
And there is no guarantee that if they are granted bail and bond, they shall appear. The accused person is also being investigated in several other files.
In response, defense counsel Karo Macharia, representing the 3 suspects, argued that her clients have fully cooperated with investigators and are entitled to bail under the Constitution. However, Magistrate Musambai ordered that the suspects remain in custody for an additional 7 days while a probation report is completed. A ruling on their bail application is expected on May 20th.
The application by the prosecution for denying the accused person's bond and also the application by the defense to grant the accused bail. So in the interest of justice and in order for this court to make an informed decision whether to grant or deny bond at this particular juncture, I do direct the probation officer to file a pre-bail report within 7 days. So we can have a matter mention next week to confirm filing of the pre-bail report and for further orders.
As the government continues its efforts to reassure citizens and strengthen national security, the public remain watchful for the outcome of this high-profile case. Reporting for Catholic Focus, Maureen Kimani.
Well, from central Kenya, we now focus the Catholic spotlight to Western Kenya in Buhalarire Boys High School, where in Butula, Busia County, where the school is once again in the grip of devastation after a raging inferno tore through one of its dormitories, reducing everything to ashes. Over 350 learners were jolted awake as flames consumed the boarding structure and belongings, leaving behind a charred shell of what was once a safe haven.
This is not the first time the incident at the school. 2 other dormitories were razed under similar mysterious circumstances last year. Now, with damages soaring past 15 million shillings and worrying pattern emerging, the community is demanding justice, accountability, and swift investigation.
Susan Bulemi brings us the full story from the ground.
Thick black soot curled into the night sky as flames devoured everything in their path. Smoldering beddings, twisted metallic boxes, charred books and stationery turned to ash. A once vibrant dormitory at Bukalalire Boys High School now reduced to ruins and silence. A night of terror and loss for over 350 students after one of the school's largest dormitory was engulfed by flames in the dead of night.
One of the dormitories, which has been housing 352 students, got pressed down by some inferno. The guard who was the surveillance around that place around 1:32 a.m. Saw a fire that had started in the dormitory and made an alarm, which woke up boys and started getting out of the dormitory. We had a very big team here, emergency team, the security, the education, both from the county and the sub-county. And we unanimously agreed that we release students back home as we prepare ourselves and see how to get way forward.
The fire is said to have broken out while the students were asleep. Though no fatalities were reported, several students sustained minor injuries as they scrambled for safety. The property loss, a staggering estimate of over 15 million shillings, destroyed personal belongings, school property and infrastructure, beddings, uniforms, books, and personal belongings, all reduced to smoldering rubble. This latest blaze is not an isolated case. It's the third dormitory fire at the school in under 2 years. A string of similar incidents that continue to rattle the school community and local leaders alike.
We have had this before. In fact, last year, 2 dormitories were burnt down. There was investigation. We have never known the results of the investigation from the police, the CID. This again comes up. I don't know what the CID will tell us. So if such things happen and we don't get the investigations done properly, I think we are like we don't have any security personnel in this place. We were in the plan of trying to replace the burnt dormitories. Now we have another problem of getting this one also replaced. So it has happened, yes, but we need the police to help us. We can't just let it go free. We want to know the motive. What is happening? Why are we being attacked in this school? We are going to go out, ask the people of Butula and their friends from elsewhere to see how we can raise funds to replace this dormitory.
A concerned Oyula now wants the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to fast-track inquiries into the recurrent fires and release conclusive reports to avert further losses. For now, the affected students are back home and the school counts its losses once again, with many still in disbelief over the disaster that unfolded in their sleep. Bukalalire Boys is left reeling, not just from the ashes of destroyed infrastructure, but from the silence of investigations past. For these students, rebuilding isn't just about bricks. It's about answers, safety, and trust. Reporting for Catholic Focus, my name is Susan Bulemi.
Well, we believe that authorities will move swiftly to establish the root cause of the inferno, the recurrent inferno actually.
All right, now moving on, a major breakthrough for over 3,000 residents of Mwatate Ward in Taita Taveta County as the county government officially launches the long-awaited Madombogo water project. After years of walking long distance in search of clean and safer water, locals can now breathe a sigh of relief.
Now, the multi-million shilling initiative promises to quench the thirst of a region long parched by neglect and drought. Paris Mongombe brings us the story from Mwatate.
Cheers of joy and the sound of flowing water mark a turning point for residents of Mwatate Ward, who for years have grappled with water scarcity. The launch of the Modabongo water project now promises to change that reality. While presiding over the launch, Taita Taveta Governor Andrew Mwandime reaffirmed his administration's commitment to improving access to water across the county by investing in sustainable development projects.
Kule Taveta, simnajua tukuna lecture. Wengi wanasema lecture iko Tanzania na Kenya. Kitambo mtavuta maji pale, lazima mfanye na mazungumzo mengi sana na Tanzania. Nikamwambia haina haja. Tunatengeneza tu mfano kule Baricho Malindi. Kule River Galana wamechimba bowls 10 alafu akaziwekea tanki moja. Na ile maji yanaenda mpaka Mombasa ni mengi hata kuliko ya mzima phase 1.
County Water CECM Granton Mandawiro also lauded the project, noting that the county's investments are translating into direct financial relief for residents who no longer have to pay high prices to access water.
Badala ya kulipa ile guzo ulikuwa nalipa 10,000 kuleta maji yamekuja hapa. Si hiyo ni pesa gavana amekuregeshia kwa mfuko. Hiyo ni pesa imeregeshwa kwa mfuko ili ufanye maendeleo. Na hiyo ndio tunaomba kwa hii kaunti yetu. Na kama tutasonga kila mtu arudi tajiri ni hii miradi. Asante sana pia MC wetu kwa kusukumana na hiyo.
Local MCA Joseph Kennedy emphasized that the Modabongo project is just the beginning, promising additional infrastructure, including power connections to extend services to neighboring areas.
Haya maji vile tunazindua hapa siku ya leo, Mheshimiwa Gavana. Hapa sio mwisho. Katika vision ambayo niko nayo ya watu wa hapa Modambogo na Mgeno mpaka Golani. Leo hii tunapozindua haya maji Mheshimiwa Gavana hapa. Tukishazindua tu hivi, yani ukishatupatia nafasi, ukishatupatia go ahead namna hii, ukishakata yale maua pale tuanze kunywa hii maji hapa. Next project ya Mheshimiwa Gavana ni kuweza kusupply maji kutoka hapa yaelekee Land East. Kutoka Land East tunapea kuna pipe tunatoa hapa inaenda upande huu wa Landi inashukia pale kwa madamu huyu anaitwa Julia, yanatoka upande wa chini yanavuka barabara inaenda Mgeno ile site.
For the people of Mwatate, water is no longer a distant dream but a flowing reality. With continued support and accountability, such projects are restoring dignity to communities once left dry and desperate. Reporting for Catholic Focus, my name is Paris Wangombe.
Moving forward, a planned 56 million Kenyan shillings modern market in Amukura, Busia County has sparked growing tension and sharp division among residents of Teso South.
The government proposal to construct the facility on a new site has drawn mixed reactions, with some local backing the relocation, while others fiercely defending the current market site as the rightful location. The controversy now threatens to stall the much-anticipated development unless consensus is reached. Let's have a look.
Amukura inasaidia watu ya Nambale, watu ya Teso North na sisi wenyewe wa Teso South. Mradi huu ambaye inaletwa hapa itakost mwananchi wa kawaida shilingi milioni 56. Hiyo ni pesa mzuri ambayo inaweza badilisha sehemu hii na eneo hii ya Mukura. Yule ambaye ametuletea pesa national government through county government donor fund, huwezi kuja kutaka kujenga soko juu ya soko nyingine. Hiyo shamba iko hapo ni zaidi ya eka 2. hiyo fedha ambayo soko mpya ambayo tunaletewa hiyo, kwa sababu mimi mara mingi napitana hapa siku ya soko, unapata hapa yote imejaa na watu wanaanza kugombania sehemu. Tumekubali kwamba fedha ambazo zinakuja milioni 56 iende ijenge soko kwa ile sehemu ambayo iko karibu na soko ya ng'ombe. Tumekubaliana sisi wote
kuja kugongana na maofisi ya administration. Polisi iko hapo na kuna shamba ingine hapo ya Ministry of Works, alafu kuna vitu vingine vinakuja upande huu. Hatitaenda kugongana na hospitali. Kwa hivyo maoni yangu ninasema kwamba hii soko mbovu hii ambayo inakaa kama nyumba ya matanga ibomolewe na ijengwe nyumba mzuri.
Hii soko kuletwa Mkura, tuseme ukweli, ni kwa sababu ya ng'ombe kurosha. Taksi ilikuwa juu, ndio akaona watupee nini? Modern market. Kwa nini modern market ya Mkura? Taksi yetu irudi kwa soko ingine. Naweza wapatie example penye huko. Kuna soko imejengwa kwa lami Kisumu town, kama unajua kutembea. Iko ndani ya lami. Si lazima tilori ingie. Si lori zinaingia zinachukua msamaki huko. Na imejengwa gorofa. Mbona Mkura tunapinga? Tuache kupinga, tulete soko hapa, ndio lami kuja hapa.
Now moving forward, as the nationwide doctors' strike continues to cripple services in public hospitals, a fresh storm is brewing in the health sector. Nurses too are threatening to down their tools, citing government inaction on their grievances. The National Nurses Union has given a stern warning, signaling the possibility of a second nationwide strike within the health fraternity.
Speaking to the press in Kakamega, the Secretary General of the National Nurses Union, St. Panyako, stated that the nurses are ready to down their tools indefinitely unless the government takes concrete and immediate steps to resolve their long-standing grievances.
Have a look.
And we are going to issue a national strike notice on various issues. Among the top issues is the conversion of universal health coverage staff into permanent and punishable terms. We held a meeting with the CS Health, the Honorable Eden Twale on 6th. And the least we expected from him was that budget has been allocated for our UHC staff to be absorbed from 1st of July this year. But unfortunately, he was telling us they will be absorbed in the next budget 2026, 2027. That was simply saying that these people may not actually be absorbed after working for 5 years in what we call dubious engagements, which go against the law, go against the principle of non-discrimination and work of equal value for equal payment. If UHC is really at the heart of the president, I'm asking you, I'm requesting you, show it by action. Direct the budget-making people to remove 3.5 billion from your state house budget and allocate it to Ministry of Health to facilitate absorption of universal health coverage staff. Can we imagine 8,700 health workers who are issuing UHC, primary health care, to Kenyans in the communities, only require 3.5 billion from President, your budget of 15 billion.
Now, the government has broken its silence on growing concerns surrounding the fate of state-owned sugar factories. Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has told Parliament that no factory has been sold, only leased, through what he describes as a transparent and fully approved process.
The clarification came as a public pressure and political scrutiny mount inside a packed committee room at Parliament Building. Agriculture CS Mutahi Kagwe faced MPs amid mounting public suspicion over the fate of the sugar factories.
Kagwe was categorical. No factory has changed ownership. Instead, the government has leased them to vetted investors in a bid to revive the struggling sugar sector.
The move, she said, was not done behind closed doors, but outside Parliament tension is still brewing, with some leaders and farmers demanding greater clarity and public engagement in the leasing arrangements.
CS Kagwe, however, maintains that the government is ready to release more information and answer any arising questions. And as the debate rages on, many are now watching to see whether the leasing plan will translate into real transformation for Kenya's long-suffering sugar belt.
Let's take a look.
That the leasing is an agreed basis. So we have to move forward with the leasing. The issue of the secrecy, and I think this is what has been alluded to throughout, is the issue that we need to address. And that's why I'm referring to when this process started. Long before I was in this ministry or whether the PS was in this ministry, this process was discussed at length here in this House of Parliament. Mr. Chairman, there was even a question that was taken to court the last time that was ruled on the 25th of February as to whether there was sufficient stakeholder engagement or not. The courts ruled that there was sufficient stakeholder engagement, and we are going to go through the process. The process is going to be explained very, very clearly. From the advertising, because an advertisement was done, there was a normal procurement process that we went through. I have personally engaged quite a number of stakeholders, including the unions that represent the workers, the unions that represent the farmers. And Mr. Chairman, the issue of the farmers was paramount, at least for me. At the back of my mind, the issue of what the plight of the farmer was paramount in my mind.
That sugar industry, presidential sugar industry task force was to comprehensively look at the sugar issues. So that task force sat, they went round, and I think it took about 6 months and came up with very comprehensive recommendations, which included getting a strategic investor. And also there were issues around making the farmers benefit out of this land. So after that, in the year 2020, when this task force report was presented in April, the CS then, Honorable Munya, took up the issue and formed a committee to initiate the leasing process. And the process started, but midway, there were court cases, and majorly on issues to do with land and employees.
And intensive public participation. Actually, we did all those things. And the reason why I'm talking about the issue of land, because we said something as a committee. We made a resolution as a committee. We proposed. And even the issue of investments, we said something. So all these issues, we cannot finish in a sitting, Honorable Ruth, with a lot of respect. Let us allow the CS to go, and then we continue with the PS. And if we need a meeting on this particular issue, in the purview of with total participation of the entire, sugar subsector, I think we can have that issue dealt with to greater depth. There's an issue that you mentioned which I really want to say. Let me say this. I don't think the leasing process was restricted tender. It was open. And if it is open, this gentleman, whether he's a neighbor or whether it doesn't look good enough, he could have done that and would have gotten it. So let's look at it as an open issue and then move
on. From journalists standing for truth to citizens demanding accountability, Kenya's heartbeat remains strong but watchful.
As we wrap up tonight's bulletin, may our faith continue to guide our actions and our voices remain loud for justice and peace.
Thank you for joining us on Catholic Focus.
Oh yes, and on behalf of everyone who made this possible, we say gratitude, gracias. Our sign language interpreter has been Eric Maluki, and I'm Asasha Elizabeth.